Alright, this is a series on Tig Welding Inverters. This is part 3. Part 1 and 2 we covered AC balance and AC frequency for welding aluminum, and we're going to be talking about the 2T and the 4T position today. And they come into play when you're using a torch mounted switch like this. The 2T and the 4T selections are really for when you're not using a foot pedal or remote amperage control. When you hook a foot pedal in, it kind of bypasses those settings. So 2T is, you got an on-off switch, but you don't really have the main amperage control. You can't always vary the amperage. You do have there are some tricks to the trade at the upslope and downslope, and if things get too hot with you, you can let off and it starts to downslope, and then you hit it again and it comes back on. But largely, you don't have near the control as you do with a foot pedal. Okay, I'm a foot pedal guy. I like foot pedals. I hate dragging them around. I've done a few aircraft fuselages, and trying to drag that foot pedal all up through the fixture and through that thing is a pain in the butt. But sometimes if you got a big gap on those things and you need all the amperage control you can get, you need the foot pedal even no matter what kind of pain it is to drag around. If you're climbing up on ladders and all that welding, sometimes it's very convenient just to have a switch. So 2T and 4T, if you know all about it and how to make it talk, then that's another tool in your belt. And when you're up out of position, you don't have to worry about dragging a foot pedal. You hit it, you get an arc, and all you need is this. All you need is a torch. This is a European style TIG torch. Apparently, it's popular in Europe. I like small torches a lot better. If I go to water cooled, I just soon have as small torch as I can, which is be the WP20 usually. And this is the large size. I cut my teeth on this. I learned how to weld on these big ones like this, and in fact, I learned how to weld on an air-cooled scratch start. But that's a whole nother life. Anyway, I'd rather have a small torch, but the big ones hold up a little bit better. And sometimes, if you got a bunch of this hardware extra in your box, maybe you'd want to buy a big torch just because you don't want to buy a bunch of new collets and collet bodies. But generally torches, the smaller the better, because sometimes I do work when I have to get this TIG torch up inside a piece of 3 or 4 inch tubing and weld 3 or 4 inches up in there, and that's going to be hard with this. I'll probably hook up a smaller one to this, a small water cooled CK or a Weldcraft or something like that, just because I like that. But I'm learning to live with this, and I kind of like the button feature. Later on, I'll have the button, this part hooked up into the plug-in for the remote, but I'll have another torch hooked up on a welding lathe, and use that because it's kind of instructive to be able to watch that thing weld while we hit the button. In this video, we're going to do a little stainless just to show you, just because it mix things up a little bit. Next video, anticipating is going to be on pulse, slow speed pulse, high speed pulse, what all the parameters do on pulse, the background current versus the percentage on time, also called pulse width and all that crap. It's kind of hard to, if you're not in it all the time, it's kind of hard to have a handle on it. So that's what next week's video is, and I'll shut up now because I talk too much sometimes. My wife says I don't talk enough, actually. So, Hi, and thanks for watching another video from weldingtipsandtricks.com. This is another video in the series of videos on TIG welder inverter settings. What are all those freaking knobs? We're using an Everlast Powertig 250EX for the demonstration, and today's video is about 2T and 4T and what that means. So what does it mean? What's a 2T and what's a 4T? The 2T and the 4T position switch allows you to have some amperage control even when you don't have a remote foot pedal or a slide switch on the torch. If you just got a switch on the foot pedal, this allows you some extra features, and so here we go explaining it. Alright, one of the main things that you need to remember about 2T, 4T, upslope, downslope, AC balance, and AC frequency, the things we've talked about so far, is never ever try to pick up a girl talking about all this crap. It's not going to happen. She's going to run. Don't talk about it to your wife. Don't talk about it to your girlfriend. You'll bore the piss out of them. Keep this just between us. This is welder talk. Get it? Do we get each other? Just between us, right? This is just between us. No girlfriends, no wives. They don't. No. The most simple explanation for what 2T is basically you hit the trigger, you get an arc, you let off the trigger, the arc quits. Okay, but there's more to it than that. Okay, and what I mean by that is, if I have the upslope, remember I said we're going to talk about upslope and downslope. If I have the upslope turned up and the downslope turned up, that means it's going to take a little time between the time I hit the trigger and the time it ramps up to whatever I have the main amperage set at. And then when I let off the trigger, it's going to take a little time for it to downslope and crater out. Okay, so basically that can be a great thing. Okay, where would you use that? Here's a good example. Let's say you're up under your buddy's 68 Camaro hot rod welding a new muffler on for him, and you got your arm up here with the filler wire hanging over here, and you got the thing here, and now you flip your helmet down and you hit the trigger. You don't want all your amps at once because you don't want to blow a hole in your buddy's muffler tailpipe or whatever. So you have it set. Where the upslope is kind of slow. Gives you a little time to position and get your filler rod right in the right place. All right, let's get started in showing what's going to happen on the stainless steel tubing when we do this 2T and with upslope and downslope kicked in. All right.
All right, here's the settings we used. The pre-flow just set just a little bit, maybe a half an increment. The post-flow is set to what it equates to roughly, 10 seconds. Upslope is set at max, and the downslope is set at max, just to give it as close to 10 seconds as we can get to taper up and taper down. And then the start amps is set really low, and the end amps is set really low, like almost the end amps is set on bottomed out, and the start amps is just a little
I've got that
up.
piece there. That's the torch that's live, but I've got this torch hooked up just to the remote. So I'm going to show you the 2T position. Okay, when I press this, we're going to get an arc. You ready for this?
Alright, what's happening here, we lit up and it's going to taper up to operating amperage that's set on the main amperage panel. When I let my thumb off the trigger, then it's going to kick in the downslope mode, and it's going to start tapering amperage off down to nothing, to where the arc completely dies out and it trails off into a comet trail. So okay, here's the bead. You see it's lit up and it started tapering, getting wider. You see the heat zones start getting wider, then it gets consistent, nice pretty uniform stainless bead. And then when we reach the point we let off the trigger, that is, it starts tapering down, getting narrower and narrower, less amps, quit melting, then the heat zone starts tapering down, comet trailing out. Alright. Alright, I have to hurry up here and explain the 4T. It's pretty much exactly the same. All the settings on the machine are the same, except we got 2 extra positions on the torch. So I'm going to quickly explain that because I'm running out of time. Okay? 4T coming up right now. Here we go.
A quick summary here. Again, I've got the remote switch hooked in to the machine. Just torch isn't live. The torch is live over here on the welding lathe. Alright? 4T position. I hit the button, I get an arc. I let off, it starts ramping up to whatever I have the upslope set at. I weld, I hit the button, it starts the downslope into the downslope mode, whatever I have, however long I have it set at. And I let off the button and it quits. Simple as pie, right? You're gonna remember this, right? Remember we talked? Don't be talking about this to your wife at dinner. Just you and I.